All right, hello YouTube. Welcome to the final short little video for March Insanity for 2025. Yeah, it's been a fun year. We did the two brackets this year. First time ever. I think this is the fifth annual bracket for March Insanity for the Dark Tower side. But this year we added the non-Dark Tower Stephen King side in as well. It's been a fun poll. We've, of course, on the Dark Tower side, we're doing favorite spoken line. And then on the first ever inaugural kickoff March Insanity for the non-Dark Tower Stephen King side, we started where we started with the Dark Tower one back in 2019, which is most hated character. So those are the two things. We've had some surprises. First time ever we've had multiple ties in this March Insanity so far. So that's a first. Where I think what I'm going to do future bound is our Patreon folks. I will for next year. What we'll do is we'll have all of them vote each round in our Discord server. And the that'll be the tiebreaker. Whatever wins that vote, if there is another 50-50 tie, which is weird. In the 5 years we've been doing this is the first year we've ever seen any dead exact ties. We did have one that came down to a single vote, but we've never had it actually come to a 50-50 split. So that's, I think, what we're going to do. I know that in this case I had to literally flip a coin on one of them because I didn't necessarily, it was late night. I knew nobody would be able to respond on our Discord server enough to get any votes. So that one I just flipped a coin. But yeah, it's been a wild year. It's been a fun year. I really like doing both polls. Hopefully everyone has been enjoying this as well. So let's go ahead without further ado and jump right into the final results. And of course, we'll start with the Dark Tower one, the traditional, original March Insanity that's been going on for a while. We started with, and if you're trying to do math in your head, and we're here in 2025, and I'm saying fifth annual for 2019 being the first year, that is because we did take a couple years off. We did it as a one-time thing seemingly, and then a few years later, we realized, like, hey, that would be fun to do every year for March, because you got like the March Madness thing for college basketball. So, and because of that, there's a lot of different places that do polls and stuff to kind of like get in on the whole idea of like the bracket thing. So we decided to just make it an annual thing. So that's why we are now on our fifth annual Dark Tower one. And for that one, we had again favorite spoken line, and in our finals was Long Days and Pleasant Nights versus Go Then There Are Other Worlds Than These. And this one came in pretty close, especially for the last round or so. It seems like a lot of our wins were fairly decisive, but this one came out with Long Days and Pleasant Nights winning 58% of the vote. To Go Then There Are Other Worlds, and these took 42% of the vote. So that's a pretty tight vote. Of course, not tied, so I can't say it's the tightest, certainly, but certainly the tightest of the two polls here. So that is our winner. That is the 2025 Dark Tower March Insanity winner. Favorite spoken line is Long Days and Pleasant Nights. So obviously a fun one. It's one that I've always loved. Probably one that and I know I voted for throughout the tournament because I just think this is kind of our May the Force be with you type thing for the Dark Tower fans. So there's a lot of other really cool lines that have a lot of meaningful impact, and they're really cool and all that kind of stuff. But I do think there's something kind of like something cool about one that we can kind of throw out like with each other, whether it be on a message board or a chat for our live streams, whatever it is. It's really cool. I mean, I guess thank you, Sai. Although that actually didn't make it on our nominations. That's weird. There's a couple different things that I thought about during the course of this month, or of last month. I guess it's April 1st now, which again, I always make it a rule, no April Fool shenanigans. But the one thing I noticed is there was a thank you side just dawned on me just now. That didn't make any nomination. The other one I noticed on the non-Dark Tower side, on the Stephen King side, we're doing most hated character. I didn't realize that no one from Apt Pupil, Doosander and Todd, I'm blanking on his last name. But either way, both characters, I think, are ones that could have easily been nominated and could have potentially been decent people to get some votes. It was just wild. I think I just randomly thought about Apt Pupil for some reason, and then I was like, wait a minute, neither character ended up in our bracket for most hated character. That's wild. But then again, it wasn't hard to fill that bracket because Stephen King does really good at making very, very, very detestable characters. So that is the Dark Tower winner. Now let's go ahead and jump on over to the most hated character. And again, the final round, it ended up with another upset. Patrick Hochstetter actually took the win here, 65% of the vote to 35% of the vote. The entire round, the entire tournament, I didn't think Patrick had much of a chance. I thought for sure Henry would win. Again, when you look at these brackets, the top right, top left, bottom left, the four corners are always the ones that get the most buzz in our nomination process. I always try to put the heavy hitters in those absolute four corners so that that ultimately they shouldn't meet until hopefully the very end rounds. So yeah, Patrick to beat Henry was a massive upset. I would say that as you get into those middle brackets there, when he faces off against Big Jim Rennie, I can't necessarily call that a full-on upset. I think either of those, especially since he already beat Henry Bowers, that's not necessarily the biggest upset of a win, but it's still a win. And then the biggest upset in the history of March Insanity was Patrick Hochstetter, of course, beating Mrs. Carmody in the Final Four, or the last four, I guess, because Final Four is probably copyrighted. So to beat Mrs. Carmody is insane. I thought for sure that she would actually carry her way all the way to the finals and actually win the tournament. That would have been my bet up front. Now, Percy did have a lot of nominations, so much so that I did kind of wonder if it would end up being Percy versus Mrs. Carmody, and there was a chance that Percy could win. Little did I know that Patrick would carry upsets all the way through the tournament. But on the other side, Percy put a, again, 35%. So that was actually a pretty decisive victory for Patrick Hochstetter. I don't know what this is. I don't know if people are trolling in terms of some people were brigading the vote, which I know we don't put any protections on it. Honestly, this is just a fun poll. There's no science or anything behind this. So I've always openly said, if you want to vote multiple times, that's up to you. So I don't know if there's some absolute Patrick haters that just really wanted him to win or were stuff in the ballot boxes, or if he just legitimately is that detestable. But certainly it's hard to overcome the hype of him beating Mrs. Carmody. So him versus Percy, honestly, I would have put that as a dead 50-50 toss-up, because after the upsets he pulled, including Mrs. Carmody, I'm not going to put anything past him for winning and beating Percy. Again, I would think Percy was a little bit more detestable. I will say though, I haven't read it nearly as much as some other people, and I guess there could be an element of Percy as being mean to. I guess John Coffey's innocent, but Patrick is kind of a sociopathic, murderous child, and he is tormenting other children and stuff. So I don't know the justification behind it, but that is that bracket. Let's go ahead and jump on over to the next slide, which of course I've already slightly alluded to. March Insanity will return for 2026. We will be doing both polls again. The only thing I think we're going to change this year, the coming into this year, is generally it's toward Thanksgiving or later that we start taking the figuring out the topics, and I think we might do that a little earlier because I want to be able to do nominations longer. So maybe look for that in fall. Here on Dark Tower Palaver. Just keep an eye out on the episodes, and we will be probably, I would guess, around maybe September, October, somewhere in there. We will do a a thing where we'll kind of throw it out there and say, hey, we do still have some ideas, but I will always throw out a thing about, and I'll even tell you here, if you want to send us anything on social media or on email, Dark Tower Palaver, or show at darktowerpalaver.com, you can send topic ideas as well. That's I'm always going to fill that hopper and keep a nice big bag full of topic ideas. But we'll land on some topics probably in the fall, and then we'll go from fall all the way through February, or I'm trying to remember when we usually stop the nominations. I think it's the end of January, which then gives me all of February to build the brackets out and stuff. So that's probably right. So whatever it is, if it ends up being September, October, probably late September, early October, we'll get some announcements made for the topics for both polls, and then from that point until January 31st, we will have the open time for you to send nominations to fill the bracket. And then the voting, obviously, then we'll unveil the bracket in February, and then the voting starts on March. Same timeline as we always use. So, yes, both polls will be back in 2026. Thank you all for being part of it. This is a lot of fun. It's definitely just a small little thing that we do on the side of the normal podcast, but we really love it. We enjoy it. So we will discuss this more at length with Peter. I know I'm the only one doing these videos here, but Peter, what we'll do is our first episode of April, which is the 12th. April 12th is our next roundtable. We've got a number of things to talk about, but we will indeed do some analysis with Peter included, where we'll kind of go through both of these brackets and kind of talk about, surprises, ups and downs, kind of what our I already kind of told you some of my expectations of who would win and all that kind of stuff, but we'll let Peter have a voice into that as well. So we'll have a little bit of a breakdown on that, as well as a bunch of news that's happened in the last month or so, and then whatever might happen between now and then. So that's awesome. Thank you all for being part of this. Thank you for listening and being involved, engaging, all that stuff. We love it. It's a lot of fun. And I guess I'll sign off with the Dark Tower Palaver crowned favorite spoken line in the Dark Tower series by saying long days and pleasant nights.